All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, so again, started us out with a kind of a shorter sentence at the beginning to kind of ease us into it, and then we'll go with a little bit longer one uh, on our next uh, for the next sentence. So let's take a look at this first word here on the right hand side. All right. So let me get my sentence thing up here. All right. So we have a cough, right? We know it's cough because it's um, got a dagesh inside, so it's going to sound like a hard K. Okay. And then it's pointed with a vocal shva because we're at the beginning of a word. So we have a hard K sound with this letter and a quick E with this vowel point. So k, e, ke. All right. Ke. Then we have the letter vate, right? It's vate. It does not have a dot inside, so it's going to sound like a V, has the softer sound. And it's pointed holem wa, right? So that gives us a long O sound. And then we have a dalet right here. So we have v, o, d, v, o, d, vod. All right, so kevod, kevod. Shrink that up a little bit because that's far too large. All righty. So our next word here. So what we have is we have a letter. This letter is mem, and it makes an M sound, and it is pointed with patak, which is, of course, a short duration A type vowel. Okay. So we have and then ma, ma. All right. And then we have a lamed here. And this lamed is pointed with a silent shva because it's following a short duration vowel point. So what is the job of the silent shva? Simply to close the syllable. That's it. Okay. So this first syllable goes from being ma to mal. Mal. Okay. Mal. Then we have another chaf, right? We had a kaf at the beginning, but here we have chaf because it does not have the dot inside. Okay. Then we have a wa pointed shuruk. So what sound does this letter make? When it's pointed this way, it's like the guy with the tummy ache, right? So it says ooh. So we have mal, hu. Then we have a tav. And this tav is pointed how? Okay. So the shuruk is a long duration, right? So it is a vocal shva. So this gives us a T sound followed by a quick E, te. And then we have chaf sofit pointed kamatz. So we're going to pronounce this as cha. So the word here is mal hu te cha. All right. Mal chutecha. Mal chutecha. All right. Mal chutecha. I'm going to do this whole thing. All right. So mal hu te cha. All right. Mal chutecha. No. Oh, you're talking about Matovu? I did. I misplaced it for just a second. It's hard to do this sometimes. All right. So what about this next word? So we have the letter Yud. So it makes a Y sound. And it's followed by an Aleph, right? But the Aleph is pointed how? Cholem, right? So this, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what I said. All right. So the Yud is pointed Cholem, right? So these two together are going to make the sound Yo. Okay. Yo. Then what letter do we have here? Letter Mem, right? And it's pointed with Sere, which is a long duration E-type vowel. So that makes us sound like meh. Now you remember how this one here made ma? Well, this one makes meh. It's even worse than ma. Meh. All right. So we have yo, meh. Then we have a resh. So we have an R sound here, and it's followed by a wa pointed shuruk. So here we're just going to use the vowel sound because we have a consonant sound here. Remember, Hebrew syllables are made up of a consonant and vowel sound together. Okay. So this last part is just going to be pronounced ru. Okay. So we have yo, me, ru. Right? Yo, me, ru. Yo, meru. All right. So take a look at our next word here. We have a wa, same thing as we had here, right? All right. We have this wa, which we know in this case it makes an oo sound because it's being used as the vowel to attach to this consonant here. However, we are at the beginning of a word here. Okay. So, is this going to be sounded as a oo or as vu? It's going to be oo because see you this. So if you've got a long duration vowel point, we're going to be able to pronounce this gimel as with a vocal schwa. Okay, so we have uge, uge. Right now we have this vate, and it's pointed with wa shuru, pointed shuruk as well, right? So uge vu, uge vu, uge vu, uge vu, uge vu. All right, and then we have a resh, and this resh is pointed with what? Kamatz, long duration A-type vowel. Ra. Elishva, you are distracting the heck out of me with your cursor. It's going back and forth on my screen. I'm not fussing at you. I'm just saying I'm watching that thing go back and forth. Nope, nope, nope. All right, so we have u gevura. Then we have a tav pointed vocal shva because we're following a long duration vowel point. Te. And then we have chaf sofit pointed kamatz. Cha. U gevuratecha. I'm sorry. That is not a dalet. That is a chaf. So it's the same as this letter right here. That's the same as this guy. except for it's one of those letters that changes its shape at the end of a word. So that's why you have kaf, you have kaf, and you have kaf sofit. Kaf sofit, because it's at the end, right? The word sofit means end. Okay. So it's a kaf at the end of the word. So when you see kaf sofit, and always look at the bottom of it. See how the bottom of it drops down below the line where everything's being written on? That's called a descender. And that lets you know, A, it's at the end of a word, right? And B, it's descending below the line. So it is a sofit letter. There's only one letter that does not descend. There's only one sofit letter that does not descend below the line, and that is mem sofit.
Oh well.
Okay, mem sofit looks like a square. Okay, but nun sofit, kaf sofit, fe sofit, tzad sofit, those all dangle down below the line. And the big joke with us has always been they're like sitting on the dock or something down at the beach, right? And they've been walking all day long, and they're dangling their feet down in the water because they have so feet because they've been walking all day long. So this is chaf sofit. Like I said, it's at the end. It's like at the end of the word, and it's down below the line. It's hanging down below the line. So that those two indicators right there let us know that this is a sofit letter. Okay, so in your packet, if you look, what is it? If you look at number 40, okay, look for kaf, right? And when you see kaf, you'll see 3 marks there. That's because you've got your chaf, you've got kaf, and you have chaf sofit. Okay, so that makes a cha sound. So, u gevuratecha, right? So let's back this up just a little bit. U gevuratecha. It's a big word. That's a big word. I don't know why you say that, because it's really not that big of a word. Ugevuratecha. All right, and then let's see what our last word is here. All right. So we have a yud, and it's pointed vocal shva because it's the beginning of a word. So we have a Y and a quick E. Yeah. Then we have a dot. Now this is a dalet. This one is a dalet. Okay. And it has a talk, a short duration A type vowel. So this is pronounced as da. So yada. Yeah, that's because the reason why you don't have a video is because we're working on the whiteboard. So you should be seeing the whiteboard. Brother Lenny, you should be seeing the whiteboard. Okay. So, Brother Lenny, if you're on your phone, at the bottom of your phone screen, there should be a button that says whiteboard. If you, right. Okay. Sister Nicole. So there should be a button down there that says whiteboard. Yeah, the phone screens are usually a little different. So if somebody is using the phone using the phone version, and you can help in the chat. You can help Brother Lenny get into the whiteboard. I would really appreciate it. All right. So again, we have the Yud pointed vocal shiva. Yeah. We have the Dalet pointed patach. Da. Then we have a bait, right? So we have this bait. Now, this bait, it's got a dot inside, so we know it's going to sound like a B, but can we also double this letter? Yes, we can, because we're following another vowel point here, the patah. So we're going to make this like two B's. Okay. So this previous da becomes dab. Then the second bait picks up the sere, be. And then we have a resh followed by wa pointed shuruk, ru. So we have, this is going to sound funny. This is like some Flintstones kind of stuff. We got ye daberu. Okay. Ye daberu. All right. Ye daberu. Now, see, why is this so much bigger than the rest? Thing kills me with this stuff. All right. All right. So here is our sentence. We have transliterated it, right? So let's read it out loud. Let's read it together. We have kevod malchutecha yomeru ugevuratecha yedaberu. Okay. That's a quick E sound. EH, right? Eh. All right. Let's do it again. Kevod malchutecha yomeru ugevuratecha yedaberu. All right. So kevod. What does kavod mean? It means glory, right? Now it's talking about a glory. As you remember how we were talking earlier about a darkness you could feel? Well, kavod is a glory that you can feel. Okay. It has weight. The word kavod means to be heavy. Okay. So it has a weight to it. Okay. So we have heavy here, right? Or a glory. Let's put another box up over here. Make this a 10. All right. But like I said, the kavod, that is a weighty glory. Okay. So we have here, we have glory in the front. All right. So what about the next word? All right. Malkutecha. So the word malkut means a kingdom. And this echa on the end means yours. Okay. So malkutecha, right? We have kingdom of you, or your kingdom. Okay. Your kingdom. All right. So here's the psalmist is saying, glory, your kingdom. Now that doesn't really make, yes, sir. Is it what? I don't know. I'd have to take a look at the word. Right. It's like when it said that his glory filled the tabernacle, and his train filled the. Now that was a heavy weight. It was actually resting on them, and they couldn't stand up. So I'd have to, but I'll be happy to take a look at that word for you, brother, because I'm not sure. All right. So glory is also can be used, if we were to use it as a descriptor, how would we change that word? We would say glorious, right? Because it's talking about his kingdom. So what we're going to need to do is change that from glory to glorious. And then we're going to need to add a linking word, right? So is. So glorious is your kingdom. All right. So remember, we have glory, we have glorious. Put that back to glory. All right. So we also have this word yomeru. So what do we think that that is saying us? Sir? No. So what are we going to look for? Let's always look for prefixes and suffixes, because then that narrows down the amount of letters that we have to use to try and figure out the root word, which is where we get the meaning. Okay, so the yud here, this is a prefix meaning will with a masculine gender attached to it. And then u on the end. What are we looking at there? As a suffix, u means what? They. So what does that leave us with? Leaves us with 3 letters right here in the middle, right? How would we pronounce these 3 letters? Amar, which means what? To speak. Or when you hear him say, like, I say unto you, right? It's Amar, right? To speak. Okay, so how would we translate Yomeru? They will speak. Okay. So they will speak. What are they going to speak of? Oh, I tell you, sometimes I even wonder why I do it. Getting thin. All right. So, glory, your kingdom, they will speak. So, what's our sentence here? They will speak of your glorious kingdom. Okay? They will speak of your glorious, or we can even say, of your glorious kingdom, they will speak. It's the same thing. Okay? But technically, I think we have to use they will speak first, grammatically. So they will speak of your glorious kingdom. Okay? Comma. They will speak of your glorious kingdom. All right. So what about the next word here? Ugevuratecha. So the wa at the beginning and the cha, your at the end. So what does that leave? Well, this techa is literally of you. So what does that give us for a root word? Gibor. Power. Gibor. Power. To be powerful. Okay. So, ugevuratecha and of your power. All right. So, all right. And of your, so they will speak of your glorious kingdom and of your power. We have, how do we pronounce this? Yedaberu. All right. So what are they going to do? We know it's they because of the u on the end, right? And the first, they will talk. The bar, right? The bar, to talk. Now, there's a difference between speaking and talking, okay? Speaking is done to a crowd. Talking is done more intimately. Okay. So what they're going to do is he's saying that they are going to preach about your glorious kingdom. But when they're together, they're going to talk about your power. Okay. It's kind of like where it says that there in, what is it, in Micah, where it says that there's a special book for those that thought upon his name and spoke up often, that there's a special book. And those people are in that book, right? Well, that's because they speak and they think on and they speak about what? His name. So they have a whole different book just for them because they speak about his name one to another. So, like I said, when you speak, right, you're speaking to a crowd, or like preaching or orating or making a speech. Okay. But then it says, and of your power, they will talk. So they're going to, in their intimate between themselves, they're going to, oh man, what a mighty El we have. How powerful is he? You heard what he did here? You heard what he did here? Where in the first part, we could see a person up there exhorting, right? And preaching about the wonderful things that he's done. He did this. He fed all of these. He did da, 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 and using that as an opportunity to teach. But the talking denotes that they already know, that these people already know, and they're talking amongst each other. How many times has something happened and somebody in the shul has needed aid, or they've needed and when he comes through for us, what's the first thing we do? We're always giving him praise for it, right? And in between ourselves, Brother Alex, did you hear what he did for Brother Mike last week? He did such and such. And then Alex is like, praise Yahweh for his merciful hand, for his mighty power, for his strength. Do you see what I'm saying? The scriptures say that, and just to put it like it says in the word, it says that, there are some, there are some that say they are Yehudim, right? That they're Jews, but they're not, right? The scriptures say that those who are Jews, you have to be one where first? Inwardly, right? It's got to be alive in you. And when we talk about him and that glory, the praise that we have for him has to be alive inside of us, so that when we talk about him, what happens? It just comes out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Brother Michael, oh man, Yahweh did this for him, did this and that. Oh, that's nice. Well, maybe my heart's not where it's supposed to be, if that's the kind of comment that I'm coming up with. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's one way that we know, is when we give a praise report or something. It's called a praise report for a reason, right? But I like the way that this sentence works, because it shows that not only are they doing it in the public, but they're also doing it in private. And we can't be one thing one place and one thing another, right? What do we call that? We call that being a hypocrite, right? Yeah, the scriptures say a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? So we need to make sure, if we're proclaiming it in the shul, we need to be proclaiming it in our private lives as well. Not walking one way on Shabbat and then out doing whatever we please on the rest of the week. Okay, so that was Psalm 145, verse 11. All right. And it basically says the same thing. They shall speak of the glory of your kingdom and talk of your power. So this is the same thing that we just said. Brother Lenny, did you get that thing fixed? Is it working now? Yeah. All right. Well, here's our next sentence, right? This is the second one. I was like, do a little bit longer one here. So let me put up a box up here so we can type in it. Because we have to end sun's dipping down so soon that we really don't have the extra time. But when the days get longer, we will go back to it. We'll go back to it. But like I said, I want our days to be a little bit longer so we can spend more time. All right. So let's take a look at our first word here. So we have the letter Zayin, and it's pointed how? All right. It's pointed kirik. So I type, quick I. So Z. Z. All right. And then we have a chaf here. So what kind of shva is this? Silent, because we're following a short duration vowel point. So this is zich. Zich. Back on the back of the tongue, okay? Zich. Then we have a resh followed by wa pointed shuruk. Ru. Zichru. I did. I had, well, that's the way they come out. Sometimes it just works out that way. All right. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sound like a disco song. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. So zichru. All right. So what about our next word here? We have a nun pointed kirik, ni. Then we have what letter here? Fe. No dagesh. Okay, no dagesh. Fe. So we're going to end that because this is a silent shva. Nif. Nif. All right. Then we have the lamed here, and that's vocal. Remember, the second in a series of two is always vocal. The first is always silent. Le. Then we have aleph, pointed cholem wa, o, o. Then we have a tav here, and look how it's pointed. We have kamatz with yud and wa following. That's a diphthong, right? So that makes what sound? Av with the consonant sound in front. So in this case, tav. Okay. So we're saying, what's this word we're saying? Nif leotav. All right. Nif leotav. All right. Nif leotav. All right. So what's our next word? First of all, it's hyphenated, right? So we got two words working together to make one thing. Okay, so the word is asher, right? We have aleph, pointed katef patak, ah. Then we have a sheen. We know it's sheen because the indicator's on the right-hand side. And then we have three dots, segol with resh. So sh, er, share. So asher. Okay. Asher. All right. So what's our next word here? All right. We have ayin, silent letter, but it's pointed kamatz. Ah. Then we have a sin. See the indicators on the left-hand side. So that gives us an S sound. So s. And then kamatz hey. Ah. Sa. So asa. Okay. So asher asa. All right. What about the next word here? All right. We have a mem pointed cholem, mo. Then we have the letter fe. And it's pointed how? As vocal. Cholem is always long, right? So mo, fe. And then we have, again, just like we did here in this word, right? Tav. Mofetav. All right, mofetav. All right, zikru nifleotav asher asa. Mofetav. Okay, what about this next hyphenated word? What do we got down here? All right, so we have wa pointed shuruk, u, because the next letter is a mem. So that's one of the letters that can have a wa pointed shuruk in front of it, an u sound. So u, mi, right? Mem pointed kirik, mi. Then we have the letter sheen, right? And so this first dagesh or first shva is going to be silent. Umish. Then we have a pay, and it's pointed with vocal shva, pe. Then we have the letter tet, and it's pointed sere with yod behind it. Te, T-E-I. So we have umish pete. Umish pete. I don't know where my thing went there. Disappeared on me for a second there. All right. So u mish pete. All right. And then what's this last word here? This last word here, the second part of our hyphenated word. Okay. I did that as a trick. I wanted to make you guys think. Okay. So I wanted you guys to think, and you can't, you fly in colors. So we have the letter pay, and it's pointed kirik with a yod and an unpointed wa. So you know how when we have a yud and a wa at the end of a word, like up there we've got av because we've got kamatz in front of it. Well, now we've got kirik in front of it. So instead of it being av, it's going to be eve. So peeve. Yeah, you guys said it right. Like I said, you guys did. I'm a little peeved that you got it. Ah, ah, ah. All right. Umishpete peeve. All right. So let's work on the translation. Well, let's read it together. Okay. We have zikru nifleotav asher asa mofetav umishpete piv. Do it one more time. Zikru nifleotav asher asa mofetav umishpete piv. All right. So zikru, what does that mean? Okay, so what does this what is this wa on the end of the word is telling us something? No. What's our root word here? Zakar, which means what? To remember, to mark. So when we have a verb here, huh? No, it means to remember or to mark, like on a calendar. Okay. So this ooh on the end, it's attached to a verb. So we're telling somebody to do it. We're saying, you remember, it's a command, right? Like if we said savu, you command these people to do this thing, okay? So zikru, you remember, all right? Remember, mark, we're telling somebody to do something. What about nifleotav? No. Tov means good, but this is a suffix. Tav is a suffix that means his. So let's, all right. So what do we have here though? Look at the end of this word. ot. So that is no, that is feminine plural. So what does that leave us with? Nafal. All right. So actually, the root word here is fala. Fala is something that is too difficult for our human brains to understand. A lot of times, fala, this is where it talks about signs and wonders. Okay. So we're telling somebody, you need to remember the wonders. All right. A share, we're going to leave that for just a second because it means so many different things. But then we have this word asa, to make, to do a deed, something like that, right? So what we're going to translate asher as is like that he, and then we're going to say asa has done. So we're telling somebody, we're telling them to remember, so the deed must have been done where? In the past. Okay? So that's where we get done from. Okay? Zikru, you remember, Niflotav, his wonders, asher, that he has asa, done. Okay? So remember his works, remember his deeds he's done. Goodness. All right. What about mofetav? Okay, this is the obvious his. This is actually a shortened form of the word mishpat. Okay, what is mishpat? A judgment. So his judgments, all right. I'm sorry. I have gotten it all messed up. The mofetav, I'm sorry. This is another like a miracle, okay? The umishpete. I got a head in my sentence. Okay. So the mofetav. Sorry, it happens to me every now and again. All right. The mofetav. These are again like his wondrous miracles, his wondrous actions. Okay. Umishpete and his judgments. What about piv? Okay, so you know how we have av is, eve is the same thing. So what is the pe? The mouth. So, and the judgments of his mouth. Okay, Psalm 105 and 5. Remember his marvelous works that he's done, right? His wonders and the judgments of his mouth. We cannot afford to forget what he's done for us in the past, because if we forget, how will we know what to expect in the future? Has he, we often ask ourselves, has he ever failed us? No. Right? So we can expect him to keep his perfect track record. He cannot and will not ever fail. So that's why he's saying, remember these things, mark them down. Now somebody will tell you, hey, you take that to the bank. Mark it down because it's a sure thing. All right. So remember his marvelous works. Look at what he did in Egypt and in the desert and here. And I mean, look at what he's done. Right. So look at those. Remember those things. Write them down. All right. Mark them down. Right. Because he can't fail. And if he did it before, he's going to do it again. Right. All right. So that's going to do it for our Hebrew class.